I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, a or the basketball podcast. I'm your host, Ben Detrick, and with me as usual, Jordan Redaelli.
Hi, matey. All the way from Australia, it's Jordan Redaelli, and with us, as usual, Andrew Kuo.
Oh, at a loss for words there, Andrew.
I give you space to burn me, man. Come on, man.
No. Things are a little different on Cookies today. The landscape has changed. Our erstwhile leader is...
Eliminated from the playoffs.
Yes. Our other one is doing like hot dogs or legs in fucking Mexico. Surprise again.
I think he's in Italy.
Oh, he's in Italy?
Yeah.
I thought he was in Mexico.
I mean, he's out of the playoffs, sitting at home, like working out his rhymes for his cipher with Dame Lillard. You know?
It's, going over all those 90s instrumentals that he saved from the fire.
Looping those beats.
We are, of course, talking about the real Ben Detrick. He's out of commission for this finals edition of Cookies. And as a result, we are in a slightly different location.
We're at the beautiful Smile Cafe at the Freehand Hotel. Thanks for having us. And so if you hear a little din, it's just
people eating
NBA
lunch.
Fans chatting about the finals. But
Yeah,
before we get into the finals...
A lot of grilled chicken and farro going on out there.
Yeah,
All right.
So before we get into the finals, because it's super juicy...
Succulent finals news.
That's right. How's your week been, man? What's up?
My week has been negotiating how to watch said finals in a venue of my liking with a television screen of my standards with sound on, not surrounded by dickheads. And it's really, really hard to do so. I don't want to watch at home. Well, I do, but other people want to watch.
Is this a uniquely New York issue?
I think so. I think, a lot of other places, they'll just play sound on 15 TVs everywhere. I think, unless it's
someone's house. Just drive to your buddy's house.
Yeah.
Go through the fridge.
They have a den.
Yeah, in New York City, it's just like the reason we always go out for our social lives is because our apartments are like the size of podcast recording booths.
Yeah. And television is very much the realm of something you do at home. And although this is different because it's sports, that was a struggle. I like this bar, I hate those people. This is an awesome place. They're playing the sound, but the TV sucks.
Can you rank the most important things like company, visuals, sound? Rank them.
Company, food. TV, sound. I don't care about the food. I don't even necessarily need to drink.
I don't like watching with anybody.
I know you don't. That's why I've stopped inviting you or even hinting that perhaps I'd like to come over to your house and watch it.
I got a giant television. But we've discussed this before, I turn into the worst sports version of myself. And also, because I am that terrible person, I recognize how other people are also being terrible. So it's just like an endless loop of just like boomerism, kind of.
Oh, God, here we go with the boomerism again.
But, I'm just like, did he want it more or did he not? And I find myself like rooting for the wrong things. So these days I just like to watch on my iPad next to my computer and read Twitter as I watch on my headphones.
That's good. I sometimes like to watch listening to my own music, but last night felt, with the return of Kevin Durant and sort of the speculation surrounding that and what kind of shape he was in, I did want to hear those first half takes and like see what people were talking about, because there was really no information available to us leading up to the game. Right. So I
mean, before we get into the game, can you tell me about like your ideal setting Give it to me.
To watch the game?
Yeah.
A seat at the bar, directly in front of a television. Gin martini, one each quarter.
You have to be making the gin martinis, though, because you're the gin martini master.
Sure, but I want to be on this side of the bar watching.
True.
And being flanked by one excited person who knows nothing about the game, but is just pure excitement, and then one serious person who knows everything about the game. No dilettantes, no like casual observations, just pure excitement and pure knowledge.
Remember that show Herman's Head?
Yes.
On Fox, where the main character had like 4 actors in his head, and they were like representing all different parts of like
his psyche or whatever.
The human psyche, right? It was like Freudian, you know. But that's how I kind of feel about that too. I'm like, I don't want too much of like vibey people just screaming like "Go Raptors!" But this is a question for you. Don't you want a third person to watch your back in case someone shoots you in the back at the club?
Oh,
not to get into the sin bin, but Big Papi got shot in the club.
Outside the club.
Was it outside? I thought he was... Okay.
No, you haven't seen the video? He was chilling on the patio with some rosé and someone just fucking tried to
So
murk
there's
him from
video
behind.
of him getting shot?
Yeah.
I didn't see it yet.
There's video of people scattering. They're all on the patio.
Okay.
So I believe what happened is they rolled up on a scooter or motorcycle, as most assassinations seem to go, both in movies and real life.
That's right.
And dude jumped off and shot him, or one of the assailants shot him, and he was also captured by the crowd and
beat him up.
Had the shit kicked out of him, as one would do if someone shoots like maybe the most beloved person in the country's history in the back.
So he was shot in the back, and they flew him to Boston, and the Red Sox, kind of as an organization that takes care of their own, patched him up. I think he lost some of his intestines. He lost his gallbladder, and he damaged his liver. So it was like a major fucking injury, right?
Yes.
And the reaction immediately was just like, he's a national hero. Like, how dare he? And my first reaction, because I'm a weirdo, is, what did he do to get shot?
I mean, of course, it has to be, because he apparently he's like, I don't know what I did. Lies.
It's coming out now. It's all alleged. But the story is
here we go.
Have you not heard this part?
No, I have not heard this part. I was waiting for you to.
He could be sleeping with a dangerous drug dealer's wife.
Well, then all my sympathy goes out the window.
This is reported by actual sources, and this is not just hearsay, but for someone to shoot you is, I think, a big deal. Like, people don't shoot random celebrities because, like you said, they're well-loved. But the framing is always odd when he gets shot, and like, we're thinking about his family, and he has a kid, and he has a wife, and we are, and he almost fucking died, which is wild.
Yeah.
Boston Red Sox legend, famous for his speech after the bombing at the marathon, where he says, "This is our fucking city," in an accent, which was like a beautiful moment. And it's easy to love him. He's great. I'm a Yankees fan, and I love him. No sin, but I think we have to wait for all this stuff to come out. I hope he lives, but like, that's just a wild story. And the lawlessness is what got me. If this happened in like New Orleans, we'd be losing our shit.
Yeah, I mean, that it's a violent place. It's a known violent place. I believe Ortiz himself has even had meetings with the government there about how to make it more a desirable place to visit. And I believe he doesn't actually return there that often because of the way it is. And I believe his lawyer or his manager came out and said, if we knew that there was a threat, or if we knew that it was a dangerous place for him to be like chilling on the patio, then we never would have gone there. It's like, that takes on a bit more of an interesting slant if he's been, rooting out of school, as they say, with a dangerous drug dealer's wife.
Man, like, there was a relief pitcher for the Tigers named Ugi Urbina, and Marlins too, I believe. And he lives down in the Dominican Republic, and he, I believe, is still in jail because a bunch of people rolled up to his house and he macheted them to death.
Oh.
And it was a really complicated story, and we're not really sure what happened and who those people were. Maybe if we Googled it now, we'd know. But like, this kind of reminds me of a much lesser, not as scary example. Like one of my friends does disaster relief in Haiti, right? And she's always like, "It's beautiful. You gotta come visit. It's awesome." It's not, they need people to visit, and it would help if like Westerners came through and like showed everybody that it's safe. And I'm like, is it safe? Like, you tell me. I don't know anything about Haiti. And she was like, totally safe. Okay. When my last friend came over, she was poisoned by a witch doctor, but that doesn't matter. That only happens once. Oh, and then my other friend came through, and we went to a club, and we were all like robbed. Like they ganged up on us and took all of our like passports and wallets. I'm like, that doesn't sound safe. And she's like, there's like a green zone that's like safe for like relief people. And I'm like, oh, this seems a bit lawless. And she's like, kind of. Right?
Haiti is absolutely lawless. I spent a week there a few years ago, and granted, I was hanging out with the like
with lawless people.
Well, it was the two biggest gangster rappers in Haiti.
Who?
Phantom and Isolan.
Yeah. But then you're well protected, right?
Kind of, except apparently there was a hitter coming backstage at the Phantom show, and we all had to get out of there. There was like off-duty cops coming to get everyone.
Do you trust the cops in Haiti?
No. Although I was being sort of, I guess, protected or shown around by an ex-cop. Mm-hmm. So I felt pretty good with him. The funny thing with him was like, he's like, you're becoming pretty tight with Isolan. Like, he wanted me to make a music video for whatever. He's like, just to let you know, he's got 16 bodies on him. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he was a child assassin, and his whole crew got killed in a bus crash, and then he found God, and now... I was like, what?
Super intense, man.
Super, super, super intense. And my cameraman, sadly, who I was down there with, was murdered 2 months after I left.
What? Wait,
on a job.
what?
Yeah, he's a Haitian kid.
Fuck,
so,
man.
yeah, it's like, it's not safe down there.
That's wild, right?
It's a bit of a digression.
No, but like we hear this big poppy news come through, and we're just like, oh, this kind of makes sense just off of like this weird like these echoes of information we know watching Netflix shows and the news, and like we don't really know what's down there, and I'm sure it's fine. Like I think I'm blowing it out of proportion, but the big poppy news was like that was shocking to me.
Well, yeah, it was shocking to me as well, just for anyone of that sort of profile to be gunned down.
I'm making it sound like it's an epidemic, but it's like one thing.
I think it is like not an epidemic, but I think it's pretty bad there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is where I say I don't have necessarily any sympathy for him. It's not because he might be a philanderer. It's because he might be the dumbest motherfucker ever to walk the earth. Who sleeps with dangerous drug dealers, wives, wags, whatever?
Okay, so to his credit, let's just say, and this is finals related, right? Like we see this on paper, and we're just like, oh, you did a bad thing, but like there's so much nuance involved. Like, what if someone else was sleeping with his wife, and then what if he was childhood friends? Like we don't know all the circumstances, right?
Oh, maybe he like met her at the club and they slept together, and then in the morning she's like, hey, maybe don't tell anybody about this because this dude will have you killed if he finds out. And you're like, fuck.
And he's gonna be okay, and he's in Boston now. And
you know who's not okay? That off-duty or ex-cop that they're looking for. He dead.
That was he's in custody, but it's
no, the other one.
Oh,
there's another one that actually did the shooting. I don't think he's making it out of the DR alive.
Man, that was kind of the most disturbing.
Botch the job and then you get gut. Oh, it's awful. You come back to do the hit, and then you end up on the operating table.
It was hard for me to understand a little bit, that whole situation, especially with social media and watching it go down, being like, oh, and here's one of the guys who is the culprit, and they just beat him up outside the club. I'm like, oh, I don't quite understand how this works, but I'm so sheltered in New York City, America.
Well, speaking of cold-blooded hitters going down...
Are you talking about Bieber?
Yes. Hit me with it. We were going to go straight finals, but now it seems we're just going to go a little bit of pop culture ridiculousness to begin.
Bieber. Okay, so I'm pro Bieber. Let me put that on the table.
I'm pro Cruz.
Okay. Bieber challenged Cruz to a mixed martial arts match.
Did he, though?
I think so, on Twitter, right?
I mean, he wrote it, but like the people put the dumbest shit on Twitter. It's
This
ever.
is true. This is true, but
Was
people
he not
usually
just like flexing and being silly?
okay. That might be true, but let's say he was serious. Who would win the fight?
Are you kidding me? Tom Cruise. I don't think Bieber has even like done anything outside of Tybo.
He's got better hits, better songs with Diplo. Dated Selena Gomez, is a married Christian man.
Tom Cruise might be fucking 60 years old, but he's built like a brick shithouse.
Can he sing? Can he sing?
Can't sing. He trained boxing for Far and Away. He knows how to like judo flip people from the Mission Impossible series. And my favorite layer to all of this is it's Christianity versus Scientology.
Which are not too dissimilar from each other.
Like
in my mind,
yeah, 'cause they're both fake. But
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, we're here. I mean, I support both things.
There's no way Cruz picks up this fight, right?
No, you cannot do it. That's like Michael Jordan doing a slam dunk contest in his later years, or like LeBron James doing a slam dunk contest now. You don't do that because you're LeBron James.
Just in case. Like he's got nothing to gain.
Just in case he catches you, man.
Yeah, he's got nothing to...
You don't want to look
nothing
tired.
to gain by like beating the snot
Zero.
out of like a little kid.
It's like,
even though he's a man now, but I don't care.
It's like when Malcolm Gladwell challenged LeBron James to a 1 mile race. I'm like, oh yeah, one person has something to gain from this, and the other person has nothing to gain from this.
It would be cool though.
I would pay for it. I mean, I enjoy. What were the funniest, like, celebrity boxing?
Well, wasn't there a TV show that was that?
You mean Claymation?
Oh, that was Claymation?
I believe Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah.
That was on MTV. I think that was Clay people.
Oh, cool.
But I do want to talk about Scientology.
Never watched that.
I was sitting outside the St. Mark's Hotel, and I was remembering the Jeremy Blake thing. Remember, Jeremy Blake is like was an awesome artist, and his wife and him were caught up in Scientology, and I feel like that was our peak kind of social. It happened when we were scared of Scientology the most. It was as all these firsthand accounts were coming out of what it was like, and it was truly terrifying. But so Jeremy Blake and his wife were part of the church, and they believed people were coming after them. There might be a degree of mental illness involved, or depression, stress, and they both died tragically at their own hands. But I think like
separately, like a week apart, which is even crazier.
Separately, and our buddy lived with them at the time, so we got like kind of a play-by-play as it was happening. So it was really intense.
Very interesting New Yorker article about that whole thing as well.
Insane. Like, I don't know why there's not a movie about it. Maybe because the ending is awful. But like
Scientology.
That's true.
The power of Scientology. It's such a negative story that seems to have had two like lovely, well-loved people influenced in a very strange way by Scientology, one, and then the knock-on effect to the other.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy Blake did the motion graphics for Punch Drunk Love, which were really great. The
also,
album cover for Beck, who was a Scientologist.
Also, shout out to Beck for just still being pretty good.
Oh, come on, man.
That new Lightning song is
it good?
It's so fucking
I gotta give it
good.
I heard it a couple times, man.
I mean, it's weird. He's like a little like pixie granddad dressed in Hot Topic clothes. Yeah. Like, he's definitely not cool, but he's still got something there. So
his Scientology thing was like he was gonna become like one with the people. So that's when he did his like K Records thing. That's when he did Loser. That's when he did all those weird 4-track albums that we love him for. And then as Scientology grows, he becomes our leader eventually. Was he wrong? Did it not happen that way?
In what I think I'm missing the point, which is not rare.
You know, like in Battlefield Earth, the guy goes and like roughs it up with like the lower class people and like kind of rises up against like the powers that be, John Travolta, and becomes the leader of everybody. Sort of just like a standard like hero narrative, whatever. Like L. Ron Hubbard was like a fiction writer, you know, like this is
like Yang Gang.
I love Yang Gang, but anyway, so Beck did it. Like he just did. He is a Grammy-winning artist who is probably like an A-list musician at this point, B-list maybe with accolades.
Yeah. I definitely, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. He was like, but then again, that's also Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl could be a Scientologist, and I'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we're doing this thing that we're taking on the result and not the process of it, right? But so any of these pop stars could be in that narrative, like Stephen Clay can't because they were born in royalty already, but all these other people could be, right? But I think that's interesting. Like if Bieber's cultural
Excuse me.
grasp is like kind of slips through his hands. I know he feels weird about a lot of stuff. I like him because he's really emotional. If he feels like, you know what, like people don't talk about me in the same way, I'm gonna challenge Tom Cruise to a mixed martial arts fight. That's kind of funny, right?
Yeah. I just really need Tom to clap back in a really funny way. Kind of like with the whole Oprah thing that kind of ruined his career. And then he like went out and did Tropic Thunder and made fun of himself and other people. Like just what a nice Tom Cruise clapback. Like, you don't want this smoke, Biebs. Something completely outside the Tom Cruise canon.
Is Cruise funny? We know he's the best runner in all of movies, but is he? If you were hanging out with him, would you expect him to be funny, or serious, or smart, or all three?
I would expect him to be considerate and considered.
Which characters? Is
Very.
based off?
I think he would be very, very measured. I think he would be thoughtful, and he would maybe listen too much. I don't like people listening too much to what I say.
That's always unnerving when people remember what
actually
you say.
listening. I don't know.
We should definitely
Whoever's
not
on the
record
other
a
end of this
podcast.
microphone right now, like, I'm sure they don't. You know, they're probably like cleaning their fucking fish tank right now. But when it's really disconcerting when people look at you when you're talking and won't stop looking at you and like hanging on your every word.
Is that an invasion of space?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want Tom Cruise to do that.
No, but I feel like he would.
Did Bieber invade Tom Cruise's space with that tweet?
No. Tom Cruise has no space anymore.
Nice. Or he's
He's
in space.
He's in space. He's Tom Cruise is everywhere.
Oh, he's omnipresent, like
Yes.
the Buddha.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But didn't you say Ben Affleck was everywhere? Can two actors be everywhere at the same time? Sorry, I remembered that.
I can't. Yes, I'm gonna say yes because I don't have another
Can he
answer.
get in there? Can we get three in there?
You get three.
Can
Who would be
Neo
the-
get up in there?
Who the hell is Neo?
Neo?
Oh, Neo, Keanu. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay, just check.
I don't know if we've talked about this, which means we probably have.
So,
Keanu Reeves, the greatest actor of characters ever.
right, and you were saying he has created franchises from things that didn't pre-exist in comic books, or like another franchise, like Mission Impossible or The Mummy.
Yeah, and just as far as characters, he's Bill from Bill and Ted's, he's Neo from The Matrix, he's John Wick from John Wick.
Was John Wick a comic book? I can't remember.
I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
it was an original property done by the stunt coordinators of The Matrix.
That makes sense.
He's Johnny fucking Utah.
That's right. Speed.
Utah, make it two. Speed.
I
He's
am an
been in some of the
FBI agent. Yeah, no. Point well taken. And you told me, you said that to me maybe a week ago, and I've been trying to think of another actor that could fit that. But there's only a handful of these guys, right?
that have had
Hamptons
a
Five.
long enough career, and he started his pretty young.
And this is unique to that generation, right? Like, this was the blockbuster generation. And now we have superheroes and all that. But this was the era of Speed, which I think of fondly, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we were lining up to see Speed.
Yeah, and
more
well,
Speed.
I mean, well,
Faster.
he didn't do Speed 2 because he read the script.
Oh,
for
that's
that one.
right. The Patrick...
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick.
That was a pile of shit.
Still saw it. Still enjoyed it.
Yeah. I don't know. Sandra Bullock, so annoying.
I love Mission Impossible. I think those are the best. Might be the best franchise.
Yeah, and so like Tom Cruise has a couple of things under his belt. He's Maverick, he's Cole Trickle, he's Ethan Hunt, and the closest would be Harrison Ford with Han Solo and Indiana Jones and Jack Ryan. But I'm gonna give it to Keanu.
That's fair.
And also Keanu, his ability to do such shit movies in between is...
There's some bad ones.
Oh,
man.
they're all bad.
I saw him in Always Be My Maybe, and he was kind of the reveal for that. And that was a little tough because we were on a Keanu wave, no pun intended, and we were surfing that wave, and we were FBI agents. And then that movie came out, and I was like, "Oh, he's not funny." And we're doing that thing where it's just like a not fun meta thing.
But, absolutely.
Like he just wasn't fun, and it was improvised, and they just didn't really click. That's all.
The Destination Wedding, one of the most psychedelic, awful movies I've ever seen. It's just him and Winona Ryder. He's trying to be funny in that. He can't do it. He's only funny when his lack of acting chops make him accidentally amusing.
It's really confusing for actors, right? And he's the funniest when he's Neo, but he's probably we're not kind of we're kind of laughing at him sometimes, right? Not
of course.
with him all the time, but we love him unconditionally.
Yes, and I think he's also aware that people are laughing at him and are laughing at his acting and his skills, but I admire the fact that he pushes through regardless and does whatever he wants.
Yeah, and he's really parlayed the internet into his favor, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the meme culture really helped him out.
Shouts out to Keanu.
You know who the meme culture doesn't help out?
Uh-oh.
Your boy Kevin Durant.
My boy? I mean, he's everyone's boy now.
All right, let's talk basketball.
You cannot be mean to Kevin Durant ever again. You can't even be retroactively mean about some of the decisions he made.
All right, let's frame this first.
Yeah, you frame it.
Game 5, last night, the Kevin Durant, who has been injured for a month, comes back to kind of save the Warriors from elimination with the risk of injuring his calf again. There's murmurs that, it's really his Achilles, whatever. So he comes back and he looks fantastic. He's
just crazy.
Yeah, he's got swagger. He's talking shit to Van Vliet. He goes 3 for 3 from 3. He looks like the Durant we love and enjoy.
Oh yeah, he looked like a world destroyer for 10 minutes.
The team looks happy. And then he makes a move and he pops his Achilles. And it's tragic, and he leaves the court. The Warriors go on to fight back and win the game by 1 point, which is one of the most amazing playoff games I've ever seen, or finals games. It was incredible.
Especially in an elimination game.
It was...
they saved their chances by 1 point.
The Warriors were bad, the Kawhi was good, the refs were bad, and the Warriors won by 1 point. They were committing all these turnovers, and the refs were calling all these fouls they usually don't call. Kawhi Leonard was going nuclear, and they won by 1 point. It was, it made me kind of sympathetic to Boomers because it felt like a movie. What was your takeaway with the Durant injury?
Well, first, having him out there made them into a completely different team, obviously for the better. And I think Kawhi's struggles to get going early on in the game, he ended up with a monster line, 26, 12, 6, 2, and 2.
He's nuts. Good. He's really good.
He's really good, but he struggled to get going. He really came alive in the fourth quarter when I think he scored 10 points in about 1 to 1.5 minutes. It was ludicrous.
He has that Allen Houston vibe to him, right? Kawhi is one of the all-time greats, and Houston is just a decent player on the Knicks. But he's the guy who you're just where was Houston the whole game? And you look at the box score, he's he had 27 off of 45%. Whoops.
Nuts.
Yeah.
And so, at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, KD's really kind of disrupting the Raptors here. And I think his shooting was, almost like a contact high for Clay and Steph. Everyone was, what are they, shooting 70% from 3 in that first quarter, on the road, which was wild.
Can we roast our teammate Ben Detrick, who is a Klay Thompson hater? Klay Thompson is good, man. He is so good at playing basketball.
I can't even really engage with Ben on that topic.
Well, now that he's not here, we don't have to.
Yes. Oh, God, we don't have to talk about the Sixers. This is actually the best show I've ever been a part of.
I rip off my mask like Ethan Hunt, and I'm Ben Detrick.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you got that
It should have been the Sixers.
You got that weird voice changer thing. No, dude, you're wrong.
Oh, it should have been the Sixers, not the Raptors. Sixers should be with.
Embiid would fucking destroy them.
Ben Simmons is a power forward.
Well, I'm glad that neither of us can do a Ben Detrick impression, but I don't think anybody could. So yeah, I was stoked. Like, even though I want the Raptors to win, I was so happy to see KD out there playing against them. I was surprised at the amount of minutes he was on the floor. They pulled him off with 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter, and then inserted him back a couple of minutes later. I think he played 10 of 12 minutes, which seemed excessive to me, considering that they were leading. And then when he pulled up, hobbled, I was like, there it is. But I wasn't exactly surprised, because it didn't seem, if he couldn't go and hadn't practiced before Game 4 with that kind of structural injury, what really changed in 2 days between being able to practice or being able to go shoot around and then being able to start an NBA Finals game? And so when he pulled up, I was like, oh yeah, he can't really run on that leg. Like, he was getting it iced, I think, in that first 2 minutes. And then I was like, oh, but what if it's not the calf? What if that is the Achilles? And I turned to my buddy. I was like, damn, if he came in and that's like got him out for a year, that'd be awful. And it was more of a speculative thing, like, oh, it's probably the calf, but what if? And then, of course, it comes back that it was the Achilles, and it's really devastating. It's just, as a basketball fan, and I feel like a lot of people were at a loss for words at that point in time.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those surreal moments. Like, I equated it to like seeing a great boxing champion get knocked out. It's part of the game. These are the rules of the simulation that you're watching. But to see it happen is surreal in that, like, even when Durant went down the first time, I was like, oh, it's really odd to see Durant react that way, because he exists in your memory a certain way, and all these athletes do. Like, that was Game of Thrones, right? That was the whole premise. It's like, oh, this is the main character. This is Ned Stark. He is virtuous, and his head is chopped off. No spoilers. Yeah. And like, that is what makes it shocking and exciting. But when you're dealing with like real people and career implications, it's sad. And we love this game so much, and we don't want any of these players to go down like that. I immediately thought of Chris Bosh. But his was off the court. That blood clot kind of ended him in his prime when he was about to be an alpha, which we all wanted to see. And then I also thought of Grant Hill and Yao Ming. And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. I think the framing about KD's situation last night was like kind of like the world, but also NBA Twitter in a nutshell. I thought there was degrees of every faction. Like, the cynics came out hard, the cops came out hard to those cynics. Results-based thinking like showed its face. Nerds came through with like no emotion and kind of just like factual kind of takes. And we were talking last night as it was happening, and I felt the reading of the room was everyone immediately went from disappointment to cynicism, which was just like, oh, how dare this organization do this to this player? Is it because he's leaving in free agency? Is it because they wanted to alter their narrative of the last era? Do they actually care about this player who's about to leave them for New York? And that was very much a sentiment on the internet and on my phone from numerous sources. And I felt that was unfair to Kevin Durant, who probably was just like, please let me play. Please let me play.
There's no doubt, in my mind that he was saying that, and he may not have been pressuring them up to that point because obviously it's his body. He knows his body. They do have experts. Like,
But what is experts? Like, no one really knows, right? Doctors.
yeah, but I mean, they have experts who have highly insightful recommendations that they can make to everybody. And he could have just been like, look, coach, put me in. Coach, put me in. If I don't feel right, I'll come out. If it starts to hurt or it's flaring up, I'll come out. Just let me get some shots off and we'll see how it goes. And it seemed like it was going well.
It was going amazing.
It was going
we were freaking out.
It was going very well, but then, his buddy told him, oh, that calf thing that you have in your leg, that isn't working. I'm going to have to put some strain on something else to get you there. Which seemed like a very, very short-sighted decision to me on the part of the Warriors and Kevin Durant. And I don't blame anyone for wanting it. But also, you guys have been doing this for a long-ass time. Like, why? Do you really, you're going to liquidate his future and yours for not a slight advantage, like a large advantage in a win-or-go-home game? I get the emotional reasoning behind that, but I can't really accept the stupidity of that decision. And it's not even in a hindsight thing. And I think I was texting...
Are you sure? If he's okay, will we be saying it's stupid? If he wins a championship and he's okay and he's holding up the trophy unhurt, do we still think it's stupid?
Yeah.
No, we don't. We congratulate him for being a warrior.
No, I think it's like cool. It's like, say you're one of those people who like swims across a river filled with alligators. It's stupid. And if you get eaten, then it was definitely stupid. If you make it to the other side, it was still fucking stupid.
Yeah, but this isn't quite the same risk, right? Like, so it all comes down to, like, this is the 70-30 thing again. Like, people are still mad at nerds for getting the election wrong. And it's like, 30% is a large thing. So I think when you go to the doctor only knows what your perception of it is. You know how they're like, what's your pain level from 1 to 10? Tell me when it changes. Is it a 9? Is it a 10? And they look at x-rays and they can do their thing, but like no one really knows, right? And it always makes you think of this story. Our good buddy, Leo, maybe 15 years ago was hit by a car in LA and he messed up his knee really bad. They brought him to the hospital and they're like, we need to take that leg off because you're going to die. And they were doing all the things. He was freaking out. And then another doctor walks by and he's like, no, I don't think so. He's fine now, skateboarding, whatever. And even team doctors of the highest degree, and I think the Warriors historically have good team doctors who bring their players back. But like what they're doing with Kevin Looney is more egregious than what they did with Kevin Durant. But we're framing Looney as this warrior who's toughing it out. The minute he breaks that collarbone, we're going to be like, there goes Looney. But Looney isn't like a cornerstone of a franchise, and Durant is, right? Of any franchise. He's, I think, the second best player of all time, currently. And after LeBron James. And I think he just wanted to play, and to come after those receipts, I thought was a little bit, like everyone wants to carve.
I want to ask this question. I'm going to jump in really quick. Have you heard of any player who's suffered like a serious structural injury? And we all know that those kind of things, like tendons, and are more than are worse than like a crack in your hand or a broken finger or something. You know what I mean? Even if they affect your play differently, the long term implications of those injuries can have. Even I'm talking like just the calf, not the Achilles. Have you ever? And I know that the circumstances are different, but also the circumstances being different shouldn't necessarily change the decision. Have you ever heard of a player coming back after a month off with no practice, no 3-on-3, no full court contact, like being eased back into a role on a team? Have you ever heard of that before in basketball?
I mean, this is like the burden of proof, but I can't really think of it. But it does
Because
happen.
It does?
I mean, again, this is the burden of proof. But like, if I Google it, I bet you I can find it. But this reminds me of like McDice, and when the Knicks got him, and his knee was all messed up, and he was like, "Oh, I'm good. I don't even need a brace." And in a preseason game, everything went wrong, and everyone's like, "We told you." Derrick Rose as well. You know, it's like, "Oh, I'm ready. I can do it," and then he gets hurt again. I think superstars getting re-injured is a common thing, and like it's hard to, and this is where like boomerism and non-boomerism comes in. Like, we're trying to explain something that's really hard to explain. So when Durant goes down, we throw all of our kind of emotions into it, and that's what makes it fun. So people were really mad at the Toronto fans for cheering when he goes down. So he goes down, and there's footage of all these fans clapping, pointing at him, saying, "Get out of here." And the announcers were really down on them, being like, "This is a awful showing by this arena." The Raptors team tells the fans to cool it, and then they end up clapping him, and it's like, "KD, KD." And now all this footage of these Jurassic Parks around watching the game, all of them are cheering as he goes down. Was that a Bush League move?
That's a very difficult question, because to them they were seeing their chance at this first championship. Bit of mob mentality there as well, and they saw potentially any roadblock to that championship just fly out the window. And I think they were excited about that. But I thought it was pretty fucking gross too. Like, when I was watching it, there's that one dude that stood out of his chair and was like waving him goodbye. Because even when it happened, even though I just initially thought it was a cuff, I'm like, "Ah, damn." And then to see people doing that, I was pretty shocked as well. I don't know how much of that arena. I don't think that there was like 15,000 people being like, "Eat shit, KD." Like, I think it was maybe, as we've discovered in the other games in this finals, entitled courtside fans. So I don't really have a clear and distinct answer on that. I really applaud Lowry and Ibaka and everybody else for calming the crowd. But in the moment, I don't know that those people were thinking about the real world, life altering implications of that for Kevin Durant as a person, rather than the Warriors as a team they're trying to beat.
Well, yeah, how could we? We're asking a mob to have nuance. So, like, the first thought after the reaction, of course, when he goes down, I have no horse in this race. So I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be tragic."
Yeah.
Also, selfishly, as a Knicks fan, I'm like, "Oh, this changes the whole dynamic of where my brain was going, where my brain was set." But to see a great player like that go down was shocking. And to see the cheers, I was kind of laughing, but I'm also a boxing fan. Like, to have, I think the crowd has to take cues, and then it's sort of like thumbs up, thumbs down, right? So, yes, to your credit, like, I think the first reaction with Jurassic Park and the stadium was just like, "Oh, we're going to fucking win this tonight." Their guy is down, and they don't know that it's an Achilles. All they see is maybe he just tweaked his calf, and he'll be good in a month, and everything goes according to plan for him in his life. But on TV, we saw a much different thing, and I think we're giving Toronto fans too hard of a time, because all we're doing is like. So before that happened last night, there was a viral clip on the internet about Toronto fans being nice, being like, "Oh yeah, I can't talk. We don't do that." You know, like, we're nice in Canada. And everyone's like, "They're so nice. Go Raptors." And then now they're like public enemy number one. And I'm like, so we're asking them for in time forgiveness, but we're not giving them the forgiveness that we're asking of them.
Yes.
And that's the whole problem with sports, and that's what makes it fun. But like, yeah, we can forgive them for cheering because they don't know, and nuance is tough. Nuance takes time. In the moment, they just want to party.
Okay, I'm going to clumsily segue into like the number one Raptors fan, Drake. Drizzy. So I believe game 4 he wore a hoodie with Kevin from Home Alone on it with the word "where" underneath it. Basically Where's Kevin from the movie Home Alone? He's boys with KD. So
Some iron-on job, man.
So it was definitely an iron-on job.
Just peeling off 20 minutes after.
But, you know, like, along with a large portion of other people on the internet, like, even his good friends and and a big fan of his, was trolling him about, like, where are you when your team needs you the most? And, of course, he comes back, and Katie's a sensitive guy. He's very aware of these knocks on him, very aware of what the media is saying, definitely going to be aware of a Drake hoodie that's questioning his heart and his ability to go. Last night, Drake didn't wear anything. I think it was he thought they were going to close it out, so he wore a completely black T-shirt. He never wears solid colors. He's always got some kind of message. Was he wearing casual funeral attire for the death of the Warriors last night?
I like that take. But it's so interesting because I think the coverage of him has really like veered off. I think as a point, it feels like they stopped shooting him and talking about him during games, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think after he was issued the warnings, whatever, I'd say by Adam Silver, I would say Adam Silver was like, guys, we don't need to have people focusing on one fan in particular, especially that fan who's standing at the scorer's bench and not in his seat. It's not like, it's not like cutting a Jack Nicholson eating a hoagie.
But you're bringing up something that is really important here, right? Because Kevin Durant is addicted to his phone. And I think he is reactionary and he's part of this social media ecosystem. So I do feel like maybe he thought pressure to be like, no, I owe it to my team. Like, everyone thinks I'm going away. And, like, the take of the Bob Myers crying thing was wild. So he gets up to the podium, the GM of the Warriors, and they ask him how KD's doing, if it's a calf or an Achilles, like we all thought. And he starts crying, which I thought was very difficult to watch. And half of the reaction I got from my phone and the internet was like, these are crocodile tears. And like, the person who accuses somebody of fake crying is always a type of person, so whatever, But like, that to me seemed genuine, and he was just like, yo, listen.
Also, you're gonna judge somebody on their crying style?
Oh, it was happening on our thread.
No, I know, but it's like, you want him to be like sobbing, weeping, like slobbering Turner and Hooch style onto the microphone.
Yeah.
He's also trying not to cry because he's presenting himself to the media and is trying not to make it one about himself. He's trying to formulate his thoughts, and in a really trying time, he's probably feeling guilty as fuck. He's probably scared for his job, and most of all, he's devastated by what's happened to his friend.
It's boomerology. No boomers like people crying. Embiid cries, everyone's just like, LOL. Bob Myers cries, being like crocodile tears. Donald Trump is just like, cries. I don't believe your tears ever. Like, it's a generational thing where, like, I think Gen X is just like, oh, right, everything sucks. And then now, like, millennials and Gen Z are just like, cry all you want, man. It's just like valid as laughing,
Yeah.
But,
I watched The Star Is Born again. It's on HBO Go now. And I was like, it's going to feel good to watch this fucking thing, like, months removed from it and watch it with clear eyes.
What's the take?
Oh, no, I cried again.
It's
impossible not to cry.
I have not watched that movie. I don't know if it's going to be one of the movies I ever watch, but it's something I know I'll love. You know those things that you're like, I'm gonna love this, but I'm never gonna see it. Should I watch it?
Oh yeah, it's free.
True.
You got like months of no basketball. You've got the time now.
Yeah, and the draft is in 2 weeks.
I expect a report between now and 2 weeks.
All right, that's my summer homework.
Watch it's your summer homework. I'm gonna make Ben do it too, and we can finally.
Ben doesn't watch things.
We can finally, after 6 months, talk about
Steve 1989.
The Star Is Born. So yeah, with
the Bob Myers
crying thing, it was really tough to watch, and I was already somewhat emotional about it which was surprising because I'm not a fan of KD's play, so to speak. I don't really enjoy watching him play. I don't love his public personality. I don't.
He's not good at it,
No, I don't. But I have no ill feelings toward the man whatsoever. Never had.
especially now. Yeah. He's
Even when he went to the Warriors, I was like, Jesus, that's crazy.
he
but-
got roasted. He got dragged, man.
Yeah, but it didn't really bother me that much.
But that's what we do. That's the funny thing. Like our teammate who's not here wants to
You mean our Kevin Durant of cookies?
erase the Warriors' wins, all of them. I mean, now we can't, right? Now they're all realer than ever.
Yes. So let's talk about.
Well, I want to talk about the
Okay.
tiers a little bit because
Okay, hit me with your tiers.
People's reaction that I saw were like, well, he's trying to save face because he's going to walk. And the Warriors don't want to seem like the organization that harmed him and then just threw him out with the baby out with the water. But that was quickly dispelled because he has a $31.5 million opt-in.
Yes.
So Durant's fine. He can rehab with the Warriors on his terms. They have no say in this, I believe. I think it's a player option.
It is a player option.
And so, Bob Myers has no really kind of upside for if he wanted to portray the Warriors organization this way. Like, there's no upside. So, I don't know. Like, the way we frame what we saw last night was kind of like predictable, annoyingly predictable, and the next step of this would just to be a total 180 and be like, Durant is just like the most virtuous guy, and we gotta like make sure that we take care of our athletes, and like the whole narrative of him being selfish and like megalomaniacal kind of is over.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's become pretty black and white at this point. Like, he put himself on the line for this team, not intentionally, but may have sacrificed the remainder of his career and his ability and his own
He's only 30.
his own personal goals of like probably being an MVP again or bringing a championship to another team. And he sacrificed them for a very slim shot at helping his team. I mean, he that shit happened. The strain on his leg, whichever part of the leg and whichever injury it was, happened after 10 minutes of play. And they were looking at having him probably on the floor for another 90 minutes if he made it through the rest of the
It's
finals.
random. And I know Windhorst got on the air after the game and was like, I'm not a doctor, but it seemed like they were playing him a lot right off the bat. I'm like, yeah, it has little to do with a timer. It just kind of happens randomly with the way you move, and it puts you in the probability of moving more. Therefore, you might get hurt on one of those moves. But we're not doctors, and doctors would probably say like, I'm not a doctor, but I can't say that. Yeah. So I want to move on to kind of the implications of this. Windhorst gets on, and he's like, this changes the entire landscape of the NBA, and I want to just get it on the table that we're kind of heartbroken that Durant is hurt, and we don't want to disrespect a superstar on a verge of a max contract, like relishing in his injury. But like, what does this do to New York's future, Boston, Brooklyn, LA?
Wow. I think first we should talk about what it does to the Warriors' future.
Let's do it.
So win or lose this championship,
God, if they win, it's going to be insane.
insane.
Like,
Coming down
shout
from-
out to the Warriors, man.
Would it be coming down from 3-1 down, and those 10 minutes that Kevin Durant gave you were absolutely the catalyst? Like, he came in, got Kawhi off his axis, got other dudes going, and
this is a vibes feast. They're going to be
vibes
like,
face.
we
We
had
gotta
to win
do it
this
for
for our
Kevin.
guy. Yes.
Do it for Kev.
And you can't prove that's not true.
Kevin! Kevin!
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing. He turns up rocking that fucking boot and comes out at halftime or something at Oracle for the final game
do it.
ever there.
Let's do it. Let's do this rocky shit.
People will lose their goddamn minds.
Let's read Poogate.
Yeah, you know, like him high-fiving and coming out on the court, whatever. So, win or lose, I would say that he has to opt in for that season.
Are you sure? Like, what if New York is like, we'll just give you the max, an incentive, like we'll redshirt you for 1 year, and then hopefully we'll have you for 3 years at the max.
Do you think anyone's going to give a 31-year-old, even though he's one of the greatest players of all time, a 31-year-old who relies on his mobility, like his lateral mobility, to get a lot of
red
those
flags everywhere. I do think New York will offer him a lot of money. I not only do I think it might happen, I think it won't be shocking if he just stays the course. Also, there's a chance he doesn't, but and that's like an annoying hedge. But I think a team like New York definitely is considering the max still.
See, my feeling is that unless he no longer trusts the Warriors medical staff, that he opts in for that year, rehabs in Golden State, kind of lets them know that he's leaving anyway, but they need to fucking pay him because he's paid the price. And
and he becomes a villain again. I love it.
Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, I would do that.
Fuck you, pay me, guys, and they won't hesitate. But he's also like, but I'm leaving after that year, like,
I mean, New York
it's a gap year, and then, so he's 32. He still needs to get maxed out for 5 years, so he'll get paid that extra year at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. He'll probably make another $50 million at the end of his career on that contract at the age of 37, instead of maybe not being able to sign another one at 36. It's in the words of Keanu Reeves in Knock Knock, it's free fucking pizza.
That's right.
It's free pizza. Now, the implication of that is that they probably can't pay Klay Thompson, and Klay's like, all right, I'm the fuck out of here.
Well, they said this week that they're going to max him. They're keeping Klay. And
well, they said that before they had to give Kevin Durant a shit ton of money to do nothing.
True, and so the vibe of that team is they really like each other, I think. And I wouldn't, if Durant decides to stay, like, we don't know. He could be saying to Bob Myers, like, yo, I'm going because of my life. I need a change in my life, and no disrespect to the Warriors, but I'm out. So they may know something that we don't. I think they absolutely have to give Klay whatever he wants. Maybe he'll take less than the max to stay there. And I think maybe Dre and KD are both might be like, okay, we'll take less money to keep us together. Which has happened, like Chris Paul has done that. Kevin Durant did that to be on the Warriors. Or, we don't know how it's going to happen, but they're
an old-ass, banged-up team at this point, though.
It is. But they like each other, and the biggest challenge of every organization is how you treat your aging stars, right?
Isn't that awful? 29, wouldn't pay him.
Yeah.
But one of the best players in the league, nope.
Yeah. I mean,
in 4 years, he's going to be washed, and we'll be paying him $40 million. Fuck that.
Shout out to the Knicks, who are like Social Security for NBA players or stars, being like, you're washed up, but the Knicks will play you max.
Yeah.
You'll be taken care of.
Yeah, and you get to live in New York.
Yeah. You get to eat pizza, but good pizza. But I mean, for New York, it's interesting because I think it's kind of foolish to pawn off all your assets for an AD rental anyway. I would just wait. Like the Carmelo Anthony thing was kind of too jumpy. So I would just wait for AD. If he really wants to come to New York, just wait a year and just buy him. But now that Durant is off the table, and he's kind of like, this is a great free agent class, right? He's the only nuclear weapon on this list.
Yes.
He's the only one who changes the dynamic of a team by himself. So him being off the table in those terms changes the entire market. And
it's really funny because people keep talking about AD being part of that class. He's not a free agent. You have to liquidate everything to get him.
Too much.
You don't have to do anything to get KD except be the place that he wants to play.
Exactly. And that's where I think Boston is at risk, or Brooklyn's at risk, but he might resign there. AD came out this week and was like, I prefer LA or New York.
Because, he just wants to go to a winning culture place. What the fuck? That's such a bad look. I don't want to play with the Pelicans because you're a bunch of bums. If I'm going to be on a bum-ass team, I'm going to those ones.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to live in LA or New York, right? I mean, these guys are constantly on the road. This whole boomer take of, needing to go to a place to compete. I'm like, remember that LeBron single-handedly got Cleveland the championship.
Yes.
So it's these guys. It's possible. The Knicks. I was saying last night to one of my buddies, Stefan. Shout out to Open Run. Are the Knicks are trying to build a house on quicksand?
Yeah.
But if they have the right engineer, they can still build that house.
And you're right. This whole thing of like, oh, why wouldn't people want to go to LA or New York? Exactly. Because the flip side is if, say, someone was like, Andrew, you can do the job that you are doing in New York, but we'll move you to Indiana and we'll pay you twice as much. Would you do it?
This has been discussed a lot, and this is Yang Gang related, right? Because with the internet, if the I don't want to get too into this, but if wages are staying the same, if they're stagnating, and to live in a place like New York keeps on getting more and more expensive, eventually you're going to get to a point where it's untenable. So why can't we just have people who work in Wall Street or Midtown live in Indiana or New Jersey and just like be on a like a Wi-Fi connection? Like a virtual office. Like, why do we need real estate?
Just put everyone on Slack.
Exactly. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, this is one thought I had. This is so dumb. You know how Durant hasn't practiced?
Yes.
And we got on Allen Iverson for, practice. Are we talking about practice? In 10 years, we're not even going to have like scrimmages in the regular season. We're going to have like a virtual room where people can like see the tendencies of their teammates. And then in 40 years, we're just going to have like virtual teams that we can like be courtside for.
I don't agree, but I love that idea.
We'll see. I'll see you in 40 years.
It's very Demolition Man.
Yeah. Oh, great movie.
The greatest sci-fi movie ever.
It's
like
very
realistic sci-fi.
Yo, Wesley Snipes had a good run, man.
Oh, the best. Passenger 57, Art of War,
Blade.
Rising Sun, Blade, 1, 2.
White Man Can't Jump. Did you say that?
I did not say White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah. Yo, Wesley Snipes was real. And we talk about this all the time.
Always bet on black.
We say this all the time. I could spend $100 million in an hour, but he spent all of his money, man.
Yeah, but Wesley Snipes was a pretty fucked up dude.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Oh, wait, what do you mean? Do I know something that you know?
He was down with Dr. Malachi York and the New Orleans, who had that crazy pedophilic cult in Bushwick and Atlanta. And
I don't know anything about that.
It's crazy. It's a bit gross to get into. But Wesley Snipes had built like a shooting range, like a paramilitary shooting range next to their compound in Atlanta.
If you won the lotto and you
I'm just saying, like this, Wesley's got secrets.
If you okay, Jordan Redaelli, if you won $100 million off of Powerball, and I was like, the conditions are you have to spend it in an hour, what would you do? Would you open a paramilitary camp?
Do I have to buy something, or can I just buy stocks?
You can do that.
But that's kind of boring if I was like, this
is the question, right?
I would call up Bradley Cooper and I'd be like, I got $100 million for you to make whatever film you've ever wanted to make. Act, direct, star, and write the music.
That's a good gamble. He might make something that turns that into a profit.
Yeah.
He's a really good artist in his peak.
That's just the most off the cuff thing, like fun thing I could think of doing in 1 hour.
So
45 minutes to get him on the phone, 15-minute elevator pitch.
And that's all your $100 million.
Yeah.
That's all of it. And Elton Brand, no king shaming, he produces movies too. And he spent a lot of money on them, but I think they lost money. But I'm not sure.
I think the majority of them do.
Yeah. Yes.
Where's your $100 million going?
Real estate. I am basically
I thought we were doing the fun ones.
All right. Well, I'm not a fun guy.
Okay, so
I'm Kawhi Leonard here.
Have your closest attempt at fun real estate transactions.
Well, that's not. I want to live in.
I bet you'd buy the Brooklyn Bridge like all those other idiots back in the day.
I want to buy that bridge, man. I want to buy that bridge, baby. But okay, fun-wise, season tickets to the Knicks, courtside, that's a lot of money. But $100 million's a lot too. This is what I kind of wanted always to do, real estate related. But I'd buy a building, maybe where it's like the most valuable. Let's say right now, like in East Brooklyn. and just move all my friends in there who I love and who I think wouldn't squander it on drinking and drugs, and just be like, okay, you live here forever. Just make your paintings or album or whatever, and this is our lives.
I mean, that's very idealistic.
100 million is not that much money.
It's not, yeah, you're probably not getting that done for 100 million.
But then I'd flip the building.
And kick them all out?
Yeah. Like a dirty landlord.
So you get to live here for life.
Or if they die. Or what if...
God,
that's dark.
This is decidedly unfun take. I'm gonna trick all of my most loved friends and artists into joining this utopian creative hub, and then I'm gonna slumlord it, and if not, I'll just wait until they die.
All right, you're off the island, so you're not getting a loft. Please
also,
apply.
Also, could you imagine how painful like the common area of that building would be? Like the ping pong room? Just seeing everyone that you know and love all the time.
Yeah, but at this point...
As they age and get bitter and their ailments and illnesses kick in before they die and you get your apartments back.
This is part of the lottery curse because a lot of people do this. Like, oh, I bought my uncle a house. And then they come after more, and then you get in a fight with your uncle, and someone like pushes you off a boat. But like, this is how the lottery curse plays out. But what I'm saying is, like,
you basically want to be a slumlord cult leader.
No, I make no money off of them. They don't give me any money.
Huh.
You get to live
this
there.
This sounds decidedly Nuwobian as well.
So there's going to be a paramilitary range in the back, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
And people can train at whatever they want to train at, like throwing stars, bow and arrow, ninja. Like Bieber can come through and practice MMA because Cruz already knows.
Do you think anyone is going to choose that rope? You know the rope that's always in army movies where they have to like
it's too high,
shimmy
like,
up it. Fuck
full metal.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in my life that could actually shimmy up a rope.
I get vertigo, man. But like off of the fourth
I don't think
step,
that's your problem of not being able to shimmy up a rope. Like, oh yeah, I shimmied up too fast and too quickly. I got vertigo.
But that's easy. How many pull-ups can you do?
I believe pull-ups, I don't know, like 10.
Yeah,
max.
You can shimmy up a rope.
Nah.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think shimmying is kind of shimmying up a rope is it's like a technique. It's not strength, right?
Oh, I thought it was strength, but that's because I've never tried to shimmy up a rope.
Just wrap it around your leg and like scooch up. Use your lower body.
Oh God, I wish there was a rope available to us right now.
No, I get vertigo. I can't do it.
Oh, lies. All right, well, what about shimmying
just
elbows and knees underneath the barbed wire thing? Would you do that?
Gross. All that mud. I don't want to get scratched up.
I don't want to get scratched up in the mud either.
But like Full Metal Jacket, you know, when they climb over that wall and he's like, get over that wall. I'm like, yo, that seems terrifying, man.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I mean, would you then, if you're so terrified by these paramilitary obstacle courses, would you be a contestant on the new Steph Curry American Gladiators ripoff show?
With the golf course?
Yeah.
The mini golf?
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't it kind of like feats of physicality crossed with sporting prowess and executive produced by Steph Curry, who turns up once to do some golf in Under Armour?
Well, it's like,
but would you be on one of those shows,
knowing Ninja Warrior? No.
Yeah, knowing your limitations,
which are many,
yes.
But no. When they even stand up on that podium, I'm like, yo, that looks 20 feet high. That's crazy. How can you like focus on a rope jumping over water when you're that high up?
See, I think I'd do it just for the shits and giggles of like biting it on TV. Like everyone, like, yeah, Jordan, go. I would definitely wipe out on the first obstacle.
There's ESPN guys who have done it and have gone viral and do it every year. They make T-shirts about it. They don't get very far, but it's always funny. This is back to our conversation. Like, what is always funny? Someone get hit in the nuts. Someone falling into water. You know. Someone eating a spicy thing.
Yeah. Oh, spicy things.
Always funny.
Falling
down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. This was a fart conversation.
Yeah.
Always funny until it's too toxic.
Yeah. And it's always funny until you realize that somebody actually got hurt.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen in game? No predictions. I don't love predictions because we don't care, but I want to shout out your ongoing prediction, which is Raptors. They're still alive, still in it. So I was hoping today we would have a celebration of your pick, but we had to play another game.
I was too, but I also really, if he was good to go, I definitely wanted to see KD play against the Raptors. I wanted to see that Kawhi KD matchup. I really don't know. It's not an. It's been so topsy turvy. Like there's been so many games lost at home.
Yeah,
and so many. It's like 1-1 and then 2-1 and now it's 2-2. It's 3-2. I think the way the Raptors have played and the adjustments that they've made, and the fact that they only lost by a point last night, and the fact that they've won 14 of 18 quarters and drawn 2, like they've only lost 2 quarters.
Where's a calculator, nerd?
Yeah, it's in my mind tunnel. So I mean, they're playing really, really well, and the Warriors sort of got there on emotion. I'm floundering here because I just don't know. Like the end of Kawhi didn't show up until the last quarter. The end of that game was nuts because Kyle Lowry missed a shot.
Can we talk about how that was a bad shot in the same way that
terrible? Van Vliet should have let that one rip. He did have Sean Livingston, who's a lengthy player in front of him, but that was a late pass.
But also, the Van Vliet look was also bad. So my point is, the way we criticize Dame Lillard's shot, amazing shot that went in. I mean, we love it. But when people were calling it smart, I was like, well, you're down 1 with 1 possession. You just want a 2. Why are you taking the worst 2 on the court, which is a 3? They were trying to manufacture a look at the arc, and I'm like, no, you're down 1 point. A basket's worth 2 points.
I think Kawhi was going for the ring. He just got walled off.
Well, he said afterwards, and Legler broke this down right after on SportsCenter, which was amazing. Shout out to Klay Thompson, and no shout out to our teammate who hates Klay Thompson. But Klay worked over a screen that was supposed to be set, and they didn't switch, and Kawhi had to start maybe 5 feet farther than where he wanted to, and that gave Iggy a space to double team him.
Yeah.
And Kawhi after the game was like, I saw that double team and I was dead in the water, so I had to pass it. And
especially since the last time he saw a double or triple team, he tried an insane heat check, turnaround, fadeaway jump shot that airballed.
I mean,
so I bet that was fresh in his mind, especially since he's, telling everyone that he's not about hero ball, and he was hot and he was scoring really. He was scoring really well, but that was an insane shot to try and take at that point in the game, considering that the Warriors were starting a little tear of their own.
Does Kawhi not have that Mamba mentality? Kobe would have shot that triple team, man.
Oh well, he did.
And he airballed it more than he made it.
Yeah, I mean So the last 5 minutes of that game, Kawhi going on an insane run of his own. Steph and Klay going on an insane run. But then you also got to look at the turnovers and the mistakes. Like 2 terrible ones by Boogie, but also 2 terrible ones by Lowry.
Draymond over a back.
Which was like by millimeters.
But he did.
That
weird
Lowry
screen.
Lowry calling a timeout when they had just gone on a 6-0 run and with 3 minutes left. Total momentum killer. Like there was a lot of randomness and ambient mistakes in the back end of that game that makes it really hard to tell who's got the momentum going into the next game.
I know this is annoying, but it was a coin flip situation where like any one thing could have changed. Like when Boogie gets called for that moving screen, which never gets called in the last minute of a game, and gives Toronto the last possession. Yeah. That felt random to me.
That felt random, and also
it was a moving screen, though.
It was a moving screen, but it doesn't get called. Also, I saw no conclusive video evidence that it was goal interference at all. That it was or that it wasn't. Maybe the call just has to stand, but also not.
Can we get lasers on that shit?
Yeah, like the tennis.
Tennis, yeah. Just put lasers on the rim, man.
Yeah, or just jump ball that shit. I don't know.
I hate jump balls, but
that's.
Because the person throwing up the ball is never good at it. So it always leans one way or another.
So what they should do, is have a hole in center court, right? I firmly
ball
believe
pops
this.
up.
The ball pops up, and then the door quickly closes.
This is close to my dream of having 2 active basketballs on a live game. So what if the hole produces 2 basketballs and people just go off and try to score as many points as they can?
Oh, so it's like a fast round of pinball.
Yeah, exactly. Multi-ball.
Multi-ball.
Yeah, I want that. So you keep your rim protector at one end and your shooters at another. It's pretty fun.
Have you tried this in a pickup game?
No, I stopped playing pickup a long time ago.
Well, pickup pioneer and master Ben Detrick would probably be able to
He touches net, I heard.
touch his net.
But yeah, I mean, I know this is not the series we wanted, but last night was kind of like one of the most memorable basketball experiences I've had. And like, recency is a thing, but like I'm thinking about the Warriors coming back, or the Rockets coming back against the Clippers, or the Weber game in Michigan, or the Leitner game in Duke, or Allen Houston versus Miami. Like this will go down as one of the games of all time because we got the dude went down. Ned Stark went down.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this not being the series we wanted last week, and it kind of is the series that I wanted. And the storylines and the topsy-turvy nature of this particular finals is pretty memorable. Like the games going back and forth, it being the first finals in Canada, like Kawhi's full coming out party and complete domination of these playoffs, KD missing, it being the old Warriors. I think there's a ton of really interesting storylines, and we still have potentially 2 games left in which will be added to something that's already been like perplexing and fascinating.
And there's no finality to this anymore, and I feel like whoever wins will just frame it that way. And then we got the draft in 2 weeks, and then all this stuff comes into play. So as soon as Durant goes down, we get a clearer picture of what New York does, what Brooklyn does. New York probably keeps R.J. Barrett at this point, if they're smart. Point guard R.J. Barrett. Brooklyn probably has those 2 slots, but no one to fill them. And I bet you LeBron is just like, not only is life short, the NBA life is short, and we need to do this now. I want you to sell out and get me these guys, because look at what happened to my buddy Durant.
Yeah, and look what happened to Boogie as well. Like these dudes who are, and it's just sort of been this like strange. It feels like there's been this recent strange epidemic of franchise or superstar players getting injured right before they're about to get the biggest contract that their careers will afford them. So yeah, I think a lot of this like ring chasing arguments and will go out the window maybe now. It's like, well, yeah, do what's right for you because it could all be over in the blink of an eye.
Because boomers are dying out and they're losing interest, and we get to enjoy this game without boomerology.
Yeah. I can't say boomers.
Because it's an Aussie thing, right?
Yeah.
That's fair. I used to call them vibists, but I think boomer has a nicer ring.
Yeah.
Well,
shout out to all the boomers out there who are going to send threats.
Not all boomers. All right, so we crushed this pod.
Yeah. How did you feel without Ben here?
Amazing.
I felt pretty. This is the first time we've ever done this, just the 2 of us, like on air and not like 3 in the morning in a booth at the Fish.
Weekend at Bennie.
I love the
Weekend at Benny's.
I love the Cares.
I also think that maybe I should start introducing the show now. He's kind of lost his privileges by going on all these vacations.
I'll co-sign that.
Yeah, he vacated the throne.
You gotta want it more.
Sorry, buckets. Cookies.